Alright, fuck it, dude. Let's just, let's start.
Fine.
Yo, welcome to the sweet show, the Crazy Gentleman Podcast. I'm your host, the Crazy Gentleman. And as usual, this show is brought to you by Bare Knuckle Performance, bareknuckleperformance.com.
No shit.
Yeah.
I fucking love Paul. Spend your money with bareknuckleperformance.com. Work it out, you cunt.
You heard it, dude.
You heard
it. Yeah, you fucking cunt. Buy some made in America parts, dude.
Work it out. What are you waiting for? You can do two things at one time. Listen and tickety.
Yeah, dude, hit it right.
You're just
now.
ruining your opening comments.
No, this is the best intro ever, dude. You're the intro man.
I'm worth about 30 seconds. You're right.
Yeah. Oh man, FXR's, Dynas, Sportsters, Baggers, you name it, dude. Paul's got you covered. Hit him up. Also brought to you by Simbita Custom Knives, SimbitaCustomKnives.com, Simbita_custom_knives on Instagram. Hit him up, tell Evan I sent ya for the world's finest hunting, cutlery, outdoor, and anything your mind can imagine knives.
Hi, Evan.
Oh yeah, dude, Evan, you're gonna meet Dumptruck one day. You want someone pushing those knives, baby? You'll be selling more knives than you can imagine.
Ooh, that's a lot of knives.
That's a lot of sharp knives.
A lot of pokey.
Yeah. Also brought to you by Lexan-Moto.com. Get a damn concert in your helmet, dude. Listen to this guy open up every show you could imagine. He's done it all.
There's lots of imagination here this morning.
Yeah. Imagine this was a good intro. You know.
It feels good.
It feels great.
It feels good. Hang on.
Feels great.
Now it feels good.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, dude, Lexan-Moto, and punch in the word crazy at checkout for 15% off. Yeah. Oh yeah, who else? The BumpShopBackroom.com, man. The Bump Shop Diaries on Instagram. Hit him up, man.
What is that?
That's my friend Rodney, dude. And that's the only place you could get Crazy Gentleman merch right now. And all of the best vintage finds, and obviously the best coffee in the world, dude. Rodney's doing coffee now too. So yeah, hit him up, man. BumpShopBackroom.com. And shout out to my producer Whiskey Eye. Thank you for the production of this glorious show.
In all of its glory.
Yes, because we all know that I'm not doing the fucking techie end of this.
It's like I do the capture, I have a guy for that.
That's it, dude. I'm the talent. That's it.
Well, we got a beef on our hands.
Loosely.
It's actually a term, people.
Yeah, dude, but without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you, I actually had something funny to say and it slipped my mind.
Ruined it.
I ruined it. Yeah, there was so much going on the backstory here that I was like, oh, I should open up with this. But without further ado, dude, Dumptruck, the world knows you as Dumptruck.
Cheers.
Yeah, Dumptruck, dude. Harley Davidson, FXR, and announcer aficionado.
It's been a crazy trip. Yeah, like being able to do the announcing thing, kind of being known for that it's an interesting story. I'm fucking stoked to be here to tell it.
Yeah, there's like 10 different ways I want to ask how to start it, but I don't know, man. You want to start it? You just start wherever the hell you want to start from.
Oh shit, what do you want to know?
Don't
tell me that. I'll just be like, so,
yo,
on January 18th, 1980 in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, a boy was born. Man, really?
Is Mississippi where it started?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, all right, then fuck it. Let's start here, dude. How did we go from Mississippi to Tuxedo El Diablo run?
Oh, so you do want the whole story?
Yeah, dude. We're not fucking around. We're getting... This is... I don't consider this podcast particularly a good one, but what I do like specialize in, I tell you what I do specialize in, is digging up what no other podcast has.
Oh, I like that.
So that's where we're at.
I think it's tight.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And I mean, let's face it, dude. I'm a fancy guy. I'm a gentleman. I like tuxedos.
I mean, but do you know anything about tuxedos? Like, that's really a whole other question.
I'm outclassed when it comes to tuxedos.
I'm so low classy, nobody can keep up.
Yeah.
I have a reputation to live down to. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, I started as a baby.
So, dude, I started doing stand-up comedy, and I'll fuck it up because I'm not going to do the whole bit right now, but one of my bits is, I think autobiographies and documentaries should start with where the parents were fucking.
Yeah.
Like, let's start from the beginning,
so
dude.
This relationship was consummated on the eve of February 19th.
Yes.
And that is where our story begins.
Yes. In the back seat of a Dodge
I don't know
King
how
car.
that part of the story began. I do know that my parents got drunk, and then I was not planned, and so 15 months after my sister was born, I was. We didn't live there even a year, and we moved to South Louisiana, a place called Bayou Lewis.
Okay.
I mean, it's a swamp, oyster shell roads, alligators in the backyard. Like, we had inclement weather. These are stories I definitely tell a lot, but I love them. Like, we had inclement weather days without inclement weather because there would just be alligators on the playground. And you can't remove them off of federal property. They have to leave on their own volition. So suddenly you got all these feral Cajun kids that are getting ready to go to school. And you have now told them that they are not supposed to go to school because there's an alligator on the playground.
Yeah.
And then you set them free. Well, what do you think we're going to go do? We're going to go to the playground. We're going to go poke sticks at an alligator from the monkey bars is what we're going to do. Like, you had all the control in the world, but then you set us free and told us where the dumb stuff was, and that's exactly where we're kids. You used to run around and grab a snake by the tail, flip it around, pop its head on a tree, have no idea what that's a water moccasin really means.
Yeah.
Because you're a kid and you're an idiot. But yeah, my daddy was a roughneck, and see, you started it.
I fucked up.
My daddy was a roughneck, so that's why we were like down in South Louisiana. He just traveled all the time. He was gone most of the month, be home for like 8 days. He was on like a hell of a turnaround. And so yeah, that brought us down to the swamp, and I was down there until I was like 9 years old, 9 years old. And absolutely love it. The swamp is where my first memories of happiness are. Like 100% absolutely. It was where I first rode a motorcycle on the tank.
Was Dad into motorcycles?
No.
Okay.
No, he had a bike once before I showed up, but he scared the shit out of himself, and so he didn't ride anymore. Later on in life, he did start riding again, but that was also pretty brief. We got to ride together once. It was pretty cool. But yeah, so we're down in South Louisiana, and Daddy's a roughneck and professional BASS angler. So whenever he wasn't on the oil rig, He was tournament fishing. In the summers, like, you know, my mom, my sister, and myself we spent a lot of time on houseboats so he could stay on the lake longer and work and train and practice and all that kind of stuff, and also bring some fish home because your family's hungry.
What an interesting childhood, dude. Now it all kind of makes sense because the wildest motherfuckers I know are always from Mississippi or Louisiana.
We feral.
You feral. I was going to just call you a feral adult. It all makes sense, dude.
I'll buy that for $1.
Oh, yeah, that's rad, dude.
So we went from Mississippi and moved back from Louisiana back to Mississippi for about 2 years. Dad had a real rough turn. The dead broke. I didn't know at the time. I was a kid. I was sleeping on an army cot. This is literal. On a Vietnam army cot underneath my grandmother's clothes on the family property. It was like 39 acres. And that's like, because we were dead poor. To me, I was just like camping every night.
Right.
I was like, I'm freaking 9. This is great. I get to camp. My Nana's in the other room. Like, no, son, we are broke. That's why you're sleeping under your Nana's clothes. Like, it took years for me to realize that. I was just, happy to be alive, running through the country with no shoes on. Some things don't change. And, but yeah, so we were there for a couple of years until we got back on our feet. And then we moved to the Houston, Texas area. All oil, always chasing oil.
Okay.
At this point, he's not a roughneck anymore, so it's a different kind of travel. My sister and I are, I'd say probably 4th grade at this point, and maybe 3rd, 4th grade, whatever. And so we didn't have to really be watched a whole lot by Mom, who was the most amazing mother on the planet, the most beautiful woman in the world. And I miss her every day. And so she ended up, getting a job and all that kind of stuff, and fulfill her own life and all that shit. So we had a real full family life. It was my first time in suburbia. I fucking hated it. I did like the public pools, though. That was interesting. I was like, public pools? Like, there's no gate code? They just, like, open in the summer and they close in the fall? Like, what the hell is going on here? Our pool had fish in it. Like, this one does not. And so, yeah, that was my first taste of, like, of suburbia. And I was there till, like, my junior year of high school. And all through that, like, I was I was being ushered in the direction of becoming a minister. And so I was very heavily involved, whole family was very heavily involved in the Pentecostal denomination. And like, I mean, everybody was in the choir but me, but I was on the drums. Like, my dad was deacon, like Mom was the secretary at church for like over a decade.
Really?
Like, we were in, like, I helped teach Vacation Bible School. There's just all these different programming that, like, our life was church 100%. Twice on Sunday, once on Wednesday, and if they need some help, go help them. I've mowed lawns, I've washed dishes, I've done whatever my mom told me to do. And so that was really interesting. After I turned 16, we moved to Memphis, Tennessee, and that was where I finished my high school at Houston High School. And
that's the home of the church in this country. I call it home of the church, Memphis,
much.
dude. Yeah.
There's some super churches there for sure.
Yeah.
Bellevue, huge, crazy. Don't even get it. Wow, I have so many better ways to spend your money. Your columns aren't that cool, bro. It's actually a bad look. But yeah, so I went out there and absolutely fucking loved Memphis. Like, I came up through school in like a music program. I was a percussionist. They had a great music program there. Really cool people. I really flourished. Found myself, or started to, whenever we moved to Memphis. A lot of it helped too, because my sister just graduated high school. So for once, my asshole sister, who used to sick her friends on me, and I was a runt growing up, used to sick her friends on me all the time. I was fighting in the middle of the hallway, slapping her friends in the face with yearbooks. Like, I was always like, and I'm a runt, so everyone else is picking on me too. That runt shit didn't last forever. But yeah, so Memphis was fucking dope. I really thrived there. I also kind of had my own little aha moment as far as like it came to my life in the church. And just really, there comes an age where you're self-aware and you start to see how your teachers act. And you listen to how your teachers talk to a congregation. And then you watch what they do and all the words that they've given you. And it ends up being a really big disappointment.
Yeah.
A really big disappointment. I still adhere to a lot of the rules that are based on their scripture, but it's not the important part to me. The important part to me is the words of love and caring that are in those things that I choose to help continue to guide my life. It has nothing to do with religion. So yeah, I had my own moment where I was just like, and it took a minute. I was a junior in high school when I kind of first had this little aha moment where I started to think for myself, and which in my opinion is super late in life. And I just suddenly was dissatisfied. And I went to college after graduating high school. Real bad mistake. I wasn't ready. Like, I was really, really sheltered. So as far as like going out and drinking and partying, I was the guy telling you about Jesus in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
So the religion really had a hold on you that late in life.
It was going to be my profession. Like, wow. I was going to be a minister. That was what I was called. And
the joke just popped in my head that I was going to start the show with.
Get it.
I was going to say you were related to Sam Kinison. All right. Do you know anything about him?
No, he's just too loud.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, dude, he actually, before he was a stand-up, he was a Pentecostal preacher, and his brother was all throughout his life. Big-time Pentecostal preacher and all that.
Same denomination.
Yeah, and he's from the South. He's from Texas.
The same denomination that I was in.
Yeah.
It was the denomination that he was in.
Really? Yeah, because he's a Houston guy, too.
Yeah.
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 So you guys are related.
This is well be. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to break it to you. But yeah, it's
Oh, hold on, I'm gonna flip your mic. I just realized.
Flippity doo dah.
Now I know where the dog gets it from.
I know. Yeah, I gotta teach you the language.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're in college, and
Oh man, it was.
and
not good.
you had the aha moment.
No, I was in high school and I had my aha moment, and I was looking forward to going to college and like being an adult for the first fucking time without somebody looking over your shoulder and telling you what not to do every 15 minutes instead of just letting you live your life. And it just didn't go well for me because I was so sheltered. Like it's like, we have a big problem with drunk driving here, right, in the U.S. In other countries, it's not necessarily the same issue. Well, it's also because they don't alienate the substance of alcohol. So when you finally become of age, you don't know what to do with it.
Right.
And that was what I was in the middle of. I, stayed super brush and clean and was just wanting to experience normal life, like literally everyone else, but couldn't handle it. Like, wasn't good at it, wasn't partying well. Grades stayed fine, but my life wasn't really much. There was a lot of booze. And I thought it was fun at the time. I was wrong. I lasted almost 2 full semesters. I'm like, this is not my place. Are we flippity flopping over here?
I'm going with something different. It'll
it.
kill me if the beard ruins the
Oh,
audio.
there's a lot of it.
Yeah, it'll kill me if it ruins the audio.
Don't
Anyways.
die.
Yeah.
But
Just keep going, dude. I'm just gonna fucking wing this. All right, cool.
there you go. That'll probably work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I went back home from school, and it wasn't good for me. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was mowing lawns. And I'm sitting there going, I was like, I'm 19 years old, mowing lawns. This is not good. Like, what am I actually doing? It's making good money for a 19-year-old kid, but I mean, this is like, it's lame summer job shit. You're supposed to go out and do.
Yeah.
And
What'd you go to college for? What was like
polymer science? I was a nerd. Like,
Okay.
I was the kid in
What's
high school.
polymer science?
Plastics. It's basically chemical
Oh,
engineering.
polymer, like polymer.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Southern Miss in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, my hometown, actually had the #1 PhD program on the planet. So
Wow.
going back to my hometown college was actually because of the fact that I wanted to be a scientist.
Wow.
Like, I was in physics like 2 years early in high school. I was in chemistry like 2 years early in high school. Never
Fucking
in the AP
hidden
class.
genius, dude. Fuck.
I don't know about genius, but I'm just able to process stuff pretty well, and I can retain it, and I don't necessarily need to study as much. Like, the information stays with me.
Yeah.
Usually more so than just regurgitation. Like, it kind of sticks with me.
Right.
Or it did whenever I was always learning, right? Now, I don't know what it is, but my short-term memory just isn't the same. I hate fun.
So from mowing lawns, did you see like a chopper ride by and you're like, I need a motorcycle?
Oh, no. That was almost then yet. I mean, I loved motorcycles my whole life, but they hadn't really entered my life yet. Not until like 2008, actually.
Okay.
And so at this point, we're at 1999. I graduated high school in 98. Back home in Memphis, no direction, still partying and drinking too much, but now with your high school friends, and mowing lawns. I'm on my way home from work one day, and I see a Navy recruiting office, and I make a U-turn, and I go raise my right hand.
Instantly.
Just like that.
You're in the Navy. You're a CB instantly.
Yep.
Holy shit.
I'm in. It's the one thing that I could do without anyone telling me I can't. Because if I sign up, it doesn't matter what somebody else says. Uncle Sam is coming for you if you don't show up on time. They will knock on your door, and they will take your ass to boot camp. and that's the branch that allows you to see the world. And I felt like I had a less informed worldview than I should have had to be prepared to be an adult. So instead of taking people's word for it, which at that time I was conflicted with, I just went out to go see it for myself. So I actually chose the military because I'm a proud American, but also because I wanted to learn more. I wanted enlightenment. I chose the military for enlightenment, which is really not why you usually choose the military, but it had a lot of other things to offer too. And I went 19 years old, heading off to boot camp. I went as a nuke MM, so I was a nuclear machinist mate, getting ready to go in. Science, man, love it.
Dude, you're fucking. This is crazy. Like, yeah, you're a real scientist, dude.
Well, I wanted to be. There was a time. That school was rad. It was really fucking hard, but really satisfying. But socially, like, I did not fit in. Like,
oh, really?
At all. No,
okay.
I had gotten to the point to where my hair has been set on fire a little bit, and since I just started to really get wild in the last couple of years, and there is 0 wild people there.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone is like...
That's the home of walking the line, man.
Well, I mean, and when you're in the nuclear program, like, you're under a lot more scrutiny because you're about to be entrusted with top secret and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, things like if you buy a soda and 2 of them go down and you don't put the one you didn't buy on top, someone watched it and you're probably getting kicked out of the program.
Wow.
For a can of Coca-Cola.
Jesus Christ.
Because of the principle. and they really make that a reality on how important that is like the principle of the matter. It's like, no, it's not just a can of Coke. You know, it's not just a document. These are secrets. So it was pretty hardcore, man. It was nuts. I loved it, but I had to go. Like, I literally
You did 4 years there and then checked out?
No,
did you make the 4 years?
I'm not even on the ship yet. You wanted a whole story, babe. You're getting it.
Yeah.
I'm still at A school.
All right.
In Charleston, South Carolina. And so I didn't get along with the program there. I just stopped, like, because they won't let you leave the program. It's too expensive for you to be in it. What the government invests per day in a nuclear student is a lot. And they're like, you're not leaving this program. We've already invested so much in you. And I was like, well, I just don't understand this concept. And, you know, start to not do so well on tests all of a sudden. And they knew I was full of shit, but I didn't want to be there anymore. And that really make you, like, force you to, like, make it so there's no other choice, but yes, you do need to leave the program. So I did, and was a striker, which is a non-rate. So I did not rate in the Navy as your job.
Okay.
Like damage controlman, radioman, yeoman, that's your rate. Other branches call it like an MOS. And so I went as a non-rate, working with the MMs, because that's where most of my training was already out of nuke school. And when you're a non-rate or a striker, you actually get to see what people do on a day-to-day basis and then go, oh, I want to test into that rate. So you take the test for it, and then now you're that, and that's where your advancement starts.
Okay.
And so I was able to get into the program and do that, and was on small boat units on the USS Fitzgerald DDG-62 Arleigh Burke class destroyer. Last all-male ship in the entire fleet, fighting fits, we rock. And it was absolute game changer. Like, the things I continue to learn from that experience, where I was on board for 2 years, and it was just, there were moments that did not feel real. There were those tough things that you can't get out of doing because, you know, there's an ocean in front of you, so you learn how to take things head on. And I hadn't learned that yet. You learn how to work with people. You learn how to work with people you don't like. The guy I worked with the most, I hated the most, and he hated me back. I was just a really happy-go-lucky kid, and a bunch of dudes in the military don't always really like that.
Right.
Like, I'm walking down the P-way, passageway on the ship, just da-da-da-da-da, and see somebody just go, hi. And they're just like, the fuck is this? At least at the beginning, like after 6 months or so, they realize that I am just a happy idiot and that it's okay.
Right.
But yeah, like going to the military, that changed everything. Like it changed so much, changed my perspective on things, changed my perspective on the world, which is what I went for, was a refreshed worldview, something that I consider to be real and tangible. And like we went to Thailand, Singapore, Hong Kong, Guam, Kwajalein, of course all over the Middle East. And it was just like, I was the guy that didn't go straight to the titty bar or bar because, well, they exist everywhere. I'm in Thailand.
Right.
I don't actually get to go here all the time, so maybe I want to go fucking see Thailand.
Right.
So I would go on the tours every place that we went, and most people don't really do that. There was never really anyone else from my ship on any of the tours to go see these countries.
Really?
Yeah, but I hung out with people that had been in the service for a while too, so they'd been here before, and that and the other. So I was determined to really like enhance my worldview. The only way to do that is to actually see the world. So I went on, you know, it's not okay these days, but I went on like elephant back rides to the jungle and
why is that not okay?
Because of what they do to the animal.
Oh.
Yeah, it's bad for the elephant, like big time.
Oh, really?
Look it up, it's pretty shitty.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bad.
right.
But yes, I mean, I did shit like that, and and hiked up to Buddhist temples in the middle of the jungle, and yeah, I mean, went and just saw the country that I was in, not just the first bar off the ship.
Right.
And I did that everywhere I went, and it really made for the experience that I hoped it would be, and then a whole lot of extra shit. So at this point, where
did you catch up? So you said you enlisted in '99, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you graduated high school in '99?
I graduated
I forgot
in
which one.
98.
Okay. Were you? So you were enlisted when 9/11 happened?
I got out about 10 months after 9/11.
Oh, okay.
So
wow,
I was in when that happened. That was one of the absolute craziest days of my life. Because we were in port when it happened. So
where were you in port?
San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had just gotten back from Westpac, and it was an extended Westpac. Deployments are usually around 6 months. We were gone for technically over 10 months because we stayed in Hawaii for a long time doing a lot more work.
Okay.
Before we came back to our home port in San Diego. So it was a long freaking time. And then people forgot how to fly airplanes and changed everything. And it was nuts. I was on the dry side and walked into class because that's the second you go into port, you got training, you got dental appointments, you got whatever. I walk into class, and that's when the second plane hit, and that's when everything, that's when I saw what a base going into lockdown looks like. And that is a very real experience. And even when you're in uniform with orders in your hands, you still feel like, and you're like on your way to do your job now. You're like, I'm going to the ship. Who are we going to go fuck up?
Right.
Let's go get this shit. But
that's probably the closest.
At the same time, you're looking around going, this is fucked.
Yeah, of course. That's probably, I mean, really, since then, I can't predict the future, but since Pearl Harbor, that'd be the closest thing we've had since Pearl Harbor, really, right?
Yeah, it's the first time we've truly been.
And being an active member of the military at that time is that's probably makes you feel like that at the time.
Well, yeah, at the time, you don't really think about it at all. You just go do that thing they've been training you to do. It's a lot of muscle memory.
Yeah.
It's literally what you train for. And so, even through all that, organized chaos while we're getting our shit together to go fuck shit up, it's just like fighting a fire. When a fire happens, everyone comes together and you do what you've been trained to do. And you just go, and at the end of the day, it's very satisfying because you're proud of yourself. You did a big thing.
Right.
All this training paid off, all the shutting up and listening, and all the physical things you have to do to be able to maintain the activities you're responsible for. It's a lot, and it's really good. It's really, really freaking good. And 9/11 was crazy, but we did a lot of coastal watch up in Bremerton, Washington. So we were off the coast for a minute, then we got orders to go north, so we went up there. And it's basically it's all search and seizure. It's the same things we were doing in the Persian Gulf. They call it VBSS, Visit, Board, Search, and Seizure. So you have trained sailors that will go and embark on other people's vessels, sometimes announced, sometimes not announced. And you're searching for contraband. And so we did that to our own country. Since we just finished doing it all over the Persian Gulf, we searched all the container ships. You get climbing gear and go on board and rappel down and pop in random locks and seeing what's inside and putting safety tags on before you leave and just inspecting stuff, making sure that what is on the affidavit is in the container. And hailing planes and all sorts of stuff. That was pretty much our life. And then our R&R and our Liberty was mostly in Seattle, which wasn't that far away. And so once that evolution finished, I go back down to San Diego, going to dry dock, and that is when my out dock starts. So I get out of the military. It is 2003, and I go back to Memphis. And I go to Memphis. I almost instantly become a radio DJ. I was hanging out with some friends of mine that were in a touring band. The local music director was promoting them very much, literally. a sailor who's lost his way. I'm on land now and have no direction, don't know what I'm going to do. But after a while, he was just like, "You ever thought about doing radio?" And we never said a nice thing. His name was Mike Wandell. He's a great guy, still in radio, accomplished guy.
Mike Waddell, like the hunter?
No, Wandell.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's Wandell.
All right.
Or no, Mike Mondell. My goodness. Hello. Stop it. But yeah, so he gave me a shot at the title because we just basically talked smack for a good 6 months, and then he was just like, "You're always on it." I'm like, "Well, my whole family's full of shit. You kind of have to be able to keep up." And so he gave me a shot at 92.9 WMFS, the new rock alternative, and it was fucking amazing.
Dude, you were made for entertainment. You fucking really were, dude.
I like fun.
Yeah.
It's a fact. But yeah, so I started doing radio, got to learn all of that, and had a really great show and a really great response, and was doing well. Wasn't really taking it seriously yet. I didn't really see a career in radio. I mean, I think it sounds cool, but at the same, I mean, I just didn't know.
Right,
I didn't know what I wanted. I was,
Does radio pay well down there? Because I know, like, a big DJ.
Pay well anywhere.
But in major cities, you can make some money.
You can, but really, if you want to make money, you're syndicated.
Oh, okay.
So that's when you make money.
Okay.
Like, now you can definitely do well for yourself in a local market. I mean, like, absolutely, especially when you have tenure somewhere, the relationships you make with local businesses and all that kind of stuff. Like, you can elevate yourself. I have some friends that do well.
Okay.
But all of them hustle.
Okay.
Like, all of them, they all have a podcast on the side or voiceovers on the side, or like, there's always a side hustle. But yeah, so I did that for a while, and then I was also a bouncer on Beale Street and other places.
Oh, that must have been awesome.
It was something.
Yeah. When I say awesome, I mean awesome not for you, but for the stories.
I mean, the stories are great. The stories are really great. I mean, it's a lot of the people you get to meet and work with, like the people that really run Beale Street, the entertainment district of Memphis, like being one of the people that runs. Because, like, we're all attached, you know, even if we don't work at the same place. We all run Beale Street. We all take care of each other. Like, was most certainly a family. And a wild-ass place to call your office. Yeah. There's always something going down. If you've never been to Beale Street in Memphis, it's more intense than it was when I lived there. And it was intense then. Yeah. But a damn good time. And Memphis, I really loved living in Memphis. I have a big soft spot for that city. But, you know, like, the party came back. I was making not really good decisions, like, quite regularly. But, you know, it was a blast. Like, you're kind of like a local celebrity. I'm a bouncer on Beale Street and a radio DJ. Right. So it's like everywhere you go, somebody's buying you a drink. Every party you go to, you're not having to pay for this, you're not having to pay for that. And you never run out of this or that. And it was fast, man. Yeah, that sounds awesome. It was fast. Like, holy shit. There were so many different, there was so many big parts of my life that I also didn't think were real. Like, being involved in the clubs and the bars and everything on that level, like, it was it was just freaking wild. We had keys to the kingdom, it felt like. Right. I mean, whatever you want. Drugs, women, you know, it was just there. Yeah. And I'm like, really? Like, what the... This is the thing. It's like, yeah, you're kind of like a budget rock star. Like, right. And the bar scene there is kicking. It's not like that everywhere you go, but when you're in a city that has a very alive bar scene, like New Orleans, it's like the same thing. When you're in the service industry in New Orleans, like, that's a fucking rock and roll position there. Yeah. I mean, you may live like a pauper, but you party like a rock star. I've always called Beale Street Baby New Orleans. They're not even comparable. Those places are so different. But yeah, so like I did all that for a great while, and then I just, you know, I saw that I was going down that fucking hardcore party road again. Not going down, I was knee deep in it and laying down new pavement. Right. And I just decided that I wanted something else. And like Memphis can be, and understandably so, but Memphis can be like, I don't know, it can be pretty intense. There's a certain amount of like racial friction that's there, and it's very real. And it fucking sucks, but I also understand why it's there. And it doesn't mean I have to be in it, though. Right, like, right. We have these things. Yeah. So we can go anywhere we want. Like, if you're somewhere where you aren't comfortable with your surroundings, change them. If you say, I don't know what I'm going to do next, you don't even know what you're doing now. So how is that any different? If you want a better life, if you want a different scene, well, then you have to actually change it. So... stop sitting there and go damn change it. And those are the things I said to myself, and those are words that I repeat to other people. And I moved to Denver, Colorado at the drop of a hat. I don't know shit about Denver at this point, like, at all. No friends there. You were just like, I'm going to Denver, baby. Like, there's snow and mountains. I don't know shit about that. Let's go. Oh, cool, man. And
Had you ever even
It was
seen
kind of like
snow?
the Navy thing. I was just like, I don't know anything about the world. I want to go see it. And so I was like, I don't know. I know I need a change. I don't know what it is. Let's go for something that's not what I know.
Right.
Because what I know ain't doing me any favors right now. And so, yeah, it was like 2 weeks later. It was like, I think we had 3 going away parties because my date kept moving over a 2-week period. It was fucking great. Everyone's like, you planned this. I was like, no, but if I had, that would have been awesome. And so I get up there, and actually my dad gets a job offer up there. He beats me. Like, I already had plans. They get up there, which was good. I needed a place to crash, actually. I didn't know what I was doing. So lived in mom and dad's basement for a minute in Denver, Colorado. Got him on 2 feet and got a job as a truck driver for Budweiser in the mountains. And that was a dope ass job. Loved it. Like, I was in the middle of nowhere, like swamp boy who started in Mississippi now, driving a truck through the mountains, the Rocky Mountains, snow covered, ice covered, like all that shit.
Damn.
Like everything is I'm unfamiliar with all of it. I've never seen squirrels like this. What do you mean bighorn sheep? That's a fucking ram. That's not a deer. Holy crap. Like, mule deer, massive. And it's just all these different things.
First time you ever saw snow in your life in Denver?
No, I like through some church stuff coming up. There were like church ski trips to Red River, New Mexico that we did coming out of Houston. So I had skied before and shit like that, which was awesome because I was a really avid skier whenever I lived there for the first few years. I used to have my skis on the Budweiser truck because I delivered.
No shit.
I delivered to the resorts.
Wow.
So I would finish dropping beer, and I'd be like, "All right, you cool if I go out?" They're like, "Hey, you don't need a lift ticket. You were wearing Budweiser gear." It's like, cool.
Dude, you're the world's coolest beer delivery guy.
So sometimes I would bring the lift guys and girls. I would like just leave a 12-pack right there. Be like, "Hey, how you guys doing?" They're like, "Hey, we're doing okay. You have a good time."
Oh, that's awesome.
Just go up, do a couple runs, throw them back on the truck, and head back down the hill.
Wow.
And that's how I learned the Colorado roads.
So you saw all the fucking best ski mountains that you'll never see as a beer delivery guy.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
From the other side. And
Wow.
everyone loves you.
Right.
Everyone loves the Budweiser.
Who doesn't
Even
love
if you
that
don't
delivery?
Like Budweiser.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, there's beer? Well, hell yeah, man. Talk to just about everybody that walks by when you work for a beer truck.
Right.
But I mean, and I love that job. It was rad. It was really, really good. But like, again, I was kind of on an island. And I am a bit of an introvert. I am a bit of a loner, but I do have a very large need for social settings. And so, and I was like, everyone I worked with was nice, but like, none of my people.
Right.
And I was like, well, maybe I need to get back in the bar business. I'm like, my head's on straighter or more straight. And I was like, I've got, a couple more days under my belt where maybe I've learned something by now. I know how to drink a beer now. Oh my goodness.
How wrong were you?
Huh?
How wrong were you?
So wrong.
Yeah.
And so I went down to a bar in Denver called Bender's Tavern. It's no longer there. A little punk rock rockabilly joint.
I love that
Like
name.
a legit punk rock rockabilly joint. Like if you have a pop collar, you're walking in there, it's just not going to be good for you tonight, dude. And it's not the dudes that are coming after you. It's the Betties with the victory rolls that are about to whip your ass.
Really?
Oh, it was awesome. So I walked into there, and it was kind of a Chad night. And I just sat at the bar, and my friend, now friend, Mama and Jermaine were behind the bar. And I just made them laugh by making fun of the customers that kept coming up next to me and the dumb shit they were saying. And like, so what do you want to drink? What do you have? Like those questions that drive every fucking bartender insane. And they just made me giggle. And so I made them giggle. And then they're like, God, I really wish you worked here. I was like, oh yeah? They're like, wait, would you want to work security? Have you ever done that before? I was like, listen, I was a bouncer on Beale Street and I'm a Navy veteran. So I feel like I could figure that out pretty easy.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God. And so like then I started working at Bender's Tavern and found my family, found a lot of my people, and it was really, really great time. But it was also like not the longest lived experience because it ended up not being healthy for me. Did get back into the partying of all aspects. Was right back in a rock and roll mode. There's drugs, there's women, there's late night parties, there's fucking parties that go for days, and like all just full throttle. Wow! Say yes to all of it, get after it, don't apologize for shit. And then I also became a really bad bouncer at that point. I used to be what people call the cooler and like the one that just like chills everything out no matter what's going on. And I was the manager, security manager, and then it ended up to where I was the last resort, to where like if And this is really out of character for me. It's hard to share because I'm not a mean or aggressive person. But those years I was. And I don't know why. I probably had a lot to do with substance abuse and daddy issues. But I just didn't take shit off like nobody for any reason. Like every once in a while I end up in my ass kicking, but overall that really didn't happen too much. And it just wasn't good. Like it wasn't good. And you don't know it. Like I didn't know it at the time, which other people like don't understand would be like, that's bullshit. But no, it's not. Like you get congratulated for every shitball thing that you do.
Right.
Every dude whose face I put in the pavement, I got laid for. I got free drugs for. I got free booze for.
Right.
You know, I got status. I got street cred. Like, you get awarded.
Right.
And you don't realize that's what's happening. I didn't realize that's what's happening because I was straight up being awarded for those efforts that do not have a positive effect on people's lives. And it's always been important to me to be aware of how you affect the people around you. Like, we all deserve that respect. I mean, sometimes I don't care about the room around me still, but like overall,
right,
like it's important. Like what you do matters. What words matter. They have weight. That's why you know how you spell words. You know why they call it spelling? Because those words will have an effect on whatever you are pointing those words at. Like if I tell you to fuck off for days on end, you're going to end up very negative.
Right.
You may not even know what the word fuck means.
Right.
But it sends all that energy
but
to you.
And
you receive it whether you don't want to or not. Because I am putting a fucking spell on you with my words.
Right.
That is what the derivative of that is. You are spelling someone. So like whenever people like make jokes about themselves, which I do all the time, that's actually considered something you're not supposed to. This is a funny thing to say. I've never said this before. So Bruce Lee said one time that, I mean, this is where like this, whole thing of spelling came from was a quote from him. He was like, do not make jokes about oneself. And he goes, that's actually very bad for you physically. He goes, over time, it does have a negative toll on your body. And he goes, because of the letters that you have to spell the words with. He goes, and that is where spelling comes from. That's why they say spelling, because you are putting that somewhere. And it's an interesting theory. It's not like it's going to be in stone. I'm going to chisel it. That's what I live by. But it's an interesting thing to think about. And so, like, I became like a congratulated villain.
Right.
And a brute. And a fucking cunt. And I was standing over someone after tuning him up. And I had an aha moment. My dude is just like red. And I was standing over him, and it fucking crushed my heart. Like, it was like, those moments where you see in films and someone's taking a big breath and all these memories come by, like they've had amnesia or something, everything comes back. It was like that. It was like the last 3 years of my life that was in Colorado, and some moments before it just went all at once. And it was like, what the fuck am I doing? Who the fuck have I become? I was like, I have always been the sweet kid, the goofy kid, the welcoming kid. I've never been this damaging, punishing person that I'd become. And so, like I said before, if you need a change, you actually have to make it. So I quit my job. I alienated myself from all the people that I knew. And I said, my real friends will come back to me. And I got out of the bar business. I was still in service industry and went to music venues, which is a very different energy. People go to bars to get fucking crashed, wasted. People go to music venue to watch a show. But even still, that was too much. Over time, it kind of turned into the same thing, where I just had this intensity that would show up and just fucking go off. And sometimes it's like I black out, and I don't know what I've just done.
Right.
And like, it's heavy, man. Especially like my heart's huge, and I still don't know how I let it get so dark. It affects me right now talking about it. And so I took my life that was based on the word no. Everything I did was based on the word no. I'm a bouncer. I'm not here to tell you yes. I'm here to tell you no all day. I'm here to be negative as fuck, but hopefully with some customer service on the back end. And maybe a smile on my face while I tell you no. Right. And so I was like, I can't do this. Like, I need to do something else. I was like, I have to get out of this. This is literally going to kill me. I'm really going to hurt somebody. Like, and I'm lost. I don't know who I am at all. And at that time, I had just started to get into emceeing some stuff. So we're like, this is like probably like 2007 maybe. I'd been in Denver for a couple of years, 2007, 2008. I've been in Denver for a couple of years, and at this point it's bouncing. It's not nearly the Beale Street super big party. I was way more down and out then. I didn't really care about, cleanliness, having a consistent roof over your head, any of that shit. I was just fucking rolling with it, just saying yes to a bunch of shit. But I was also a women's roller derby announcer at the time, and which started to turn me into a professional MC. And in 2005, when I started with the Denver Roller Dolls, like, I had no idea what I was in for. I had a girlfriend of mine that was one of the skaters. She knew that I was in radio. They had a need. I went and auditioned, and then my new family appeared. And they ended up being like what was one of the healthiest moves I'd ever made. That entire tribe was what I needed. So I had this whole life that was built on unhealthy habits. Are you ready to go inside?
I just feel bad she's hung up.
Oh, yeah. She did it.
Hell yeah.
She's like, you set me free.
I know, dude. Yeah.
But yeah, so getting involved in women's roller derby, like I traveled all over the world with them eventually, especially like, and being a bouncer at that time, you can kind of choose your schedule.
Right.
So like when I wasn't roller derbying, which wasn't a paid gig, I was bouncing back and forth. And so I had these two conflicting worlds. Roller derby is extremely empowering, extremely sex positive, body positive, freedom positive, do you, whatever, like doesn't matter. This is the refuge for all of the misfit toys. If you've never fit in, welcome home. And then I go to work to be, this dickhead fucking bouncer. And eventually the bouncer shit gave, and I stayed with roller derby for 12 years. And a random concert festival came through Denver. And some people that were on the production crew for roller derby were a part of that, and they just lost their MC. And the production company was like, we just need somebody for Denver. Like, we just need somebody for Denver. If they're great, maybe we keep them, but we have to have somebody for Denver. And they're like, well, there's this guy, Dumptruck.
You were called Dumptruck at the time, too?
I got that from the Navy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been around a long time.
Okay.
So we did a Skype call, and I got my first professional MC gig. And the headliner was Gnarls Barkley.
Really?
Common played that day.
Did you meet them all?
Yeah. I got to. It was fun. Actually, I didn't get to meet all of them. I ran into every damn one of them.
Nice guys?
Yeah, they absolutely were. CeeLo actually told me before he was like CeeLo, and he was like one of the major minds in Gnarls Barkley. And I got off stage from introducing him. He goes, "Man, that's a voice." And he goes, "You got a voice." And I actually looked at him and said, "Yeah, taller than you too." And like they had a killer show. It was really cool. And there was 30,000 people in the crowd. It's my first professional gig, and I had a big mohawk and just fucking get out there. What's up, baby? And just fine. Didn't know it, but this could be a job, and that turned into 3 years of concert festivals for Jack Daniels.
Wow.
And that same year, I had met someone, friends that were in touring bands from Memphis, came through Denver. I showed them around. One of the people there was part of a production crew that ended up with Harley Davidson as a client. And they needed an MC for Daytona Bike Week. So this is 2009.
Were you riding yet at the time?
Yeah.
Harley was like, yo, this is awesome. Well, to you, you're like, fucking Harley, dude.
He was like, hey, man. So we met. He goes, and you MC. He goes, I've met you, so I've heard enough. He goes, I have this client. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's name's Dooner Smith. Really rad dude. And he goes, I've got this client, and we need an MC for it. And it's at Daytona Bike Week for Harley Davidson Motor Company. Because you have a Harley, don't you? I was like, bro, my Sportster is in the backyard right now. And he goes like, well, do you want the gig? I was like, would you just book the flight already?
Yeah.
Do I want the gig? We're not even talking about money yet. Just let me go do the gig.
You're right.
So we went down to Daytona, and that was the first of, I have no idea how many gigs with the motor company. And so I went from...
Years worth of Harley Davidson after that.
Oh, God, yeah, 11.
11 years with Harley?
And 13 with Jack Daniels. And if they call me right now, I'll go right back to work for Jack Daniels, too.
Wow.
They were great. Really great. And the motor company was a killer opportunity. I had a lot of opportunities there. So it started with Daytona Bike Week. Just, hey, everybody, welcome to Harley Davidson Motor Company. We've got all this going on at Daytona Bike Week. Make sure you sign up for that and this and that and the other.
Just at their booth, like their demo
booth,
ride booth and stuff like that?
Just chilling, letting people know what's going on. Because, you know, an MC really gives people permission to enjoy where they're at. So, like, even though people went to the rally and they're walking to the bikes, they're not asking any questions.
Right.
So they're not learning anything. And an informed customer is a good customer. And so your job is to educate and entertain. So a little bit of both. A little column A, a little bit of column B. And so, I mean, I would go tips to toenails on a bunch of different motorcycles and really give the details out. Like, why is this called a Sportster 72? Well, it's because of Highway 72 that runs through, I mean, all the different things and stuff. Like, really, like, trying to not elevate, but broaden this experience a little bit. You know, like, talk directly to them. Make people a part of the production, because they are. It's boring without them.
Right.
So, like, make them a part of it. They already are. They just don't know yet. You just got to let them know. And so I did a lot of that for a long time with Harley. I did Daytona Bike Week, Sturgis Motorcycle Rally that same year, and then didn't have a whole lot going on that first winter, and then NHRA season came out.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And I got a phone call, and I was in a
Thrills,
spot.
chills, and spills, baby.
Yeah, it was really, really rad. So, to back up a little bit, I was doing the roller derby thing. I was doing the MC thing. It was ruling. I loved it, but I was done with Denver. And this is up at about 2011. And I'm just like, okay, there's something else. I need something else. Quite honestly, I need to move to a city that's not full of only white people. That's a big, I mean, I'm from the deep South, man. Like, like that, like, multicultural makes me comfortable. I mean, I come from the swamp. You got Indians, you know, African Americans, white people, Spanish people, French, like.
It is one of the melting pots of America, that area of the country.
I mean, that's where they kicked a bunch of people. They nobody else wants to live in the swamp. They want to live in the swamp. Send the Acadians down there. Go for it.
Right.
But so, I mean, it's like, that's what I was used to. And like, Denver is awesome. But I mean, it really, when you look around, I'm not used to only seeing a bunch of white dudes.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to get some more diversity in my life. And at this point, I was also thinking about becoming a voice actor. And so I broke up with a girlfriend. Whew, thank goodness. And packed my bags. Did I have a car at this point? I don't think I did. I sold a car to get another motorcycle outside of my 89 Sportster, which I still have. And at this point, an 07 Street Glide as well. And my friends, Levi and Kara, they drove me out to California. That's how I got there. And I was posted up in LA and became the announcer for the LA Derby Dolls, one of them. And started going to security classes. That's the only history that I had in work, was security.
Okay.
I wasn't going for bars.
Okay.
I was going for like actual security, like, you know, getting certified in handcuffing, getting recertified in exposed carry, like all these different things. And never got any of my certifications after spending all this money on school and all that shit. So it's still 2011. And the end of the year is coming. And I'm broke. I've got less than $200. I have no idea what's going to come next. I put all of my eggs in the certifications for me to get a job, and I can't get a job in the field that I'm very proficient in.
Right.
Which probably was a good thing. I'd yet to have a really successful evolution of that without drama.
Right.
Without needing a life change, you know. And so, shit, man. I got a phone call from Chris Schoonover. He goes, "Hey, Dumptruck, I don't have a budget for an MC." He goes, "But I know that we need one." And he goes, "We got the NHRA season coming up for 2012. And he goes, I really need this." And I'm like, "Well, what's the number?" And he goes, "This is the number that I have for you for 24 races." And he goes, "I don't have hotel. I don't have any. This is like the whole budget. So can you figure this out? Is this something you want to do?" I literally did not have a choice. I didn't have an address. LA Derby Dolls let me store all my stuff at the doll factory, which is where they own the building where they practice and all that stuff. And they were just absolutely wonderful to me, as roller derby always has been. And I was looking at it, I was like, man, at the end of this tour, flying everywhere and this and that and the other, I'm going to literally make $400 this year.
Jesus.
Which you can't, like, there's no grocery money in that. There's no, like, I mean, that would be all that I got in profit. And then I went, wait, what if I rode everywhere? I did this map, and I still have it framed in my house. And I put push pins in it with some yarn, went live in the early days of streaming live, and started to pinpoint all the races, and then get yarn and plan this road trip.
Damn.
And realized that I could save like $8,000 if I rode my motorcycle. I was like, well, I don't have a choice. I don't have anything else going on. I was completely grateful for it, of course, and said yes to it.
Dude, a NASCAR gig from a kid from the South.
The
must have
NHRA,
been fucking oh, that's right. I'm thinking NASCAR. Yeah, NHRA gig though, like a kid from the South. That must have been like
It was
the coolest fucking thing you could have got.
Dude, like, I mean, there's all the early memories of the like local drag racing events that I went to in the middle of nowhere, Mississippi, and stuff like that. Like,
dude, southern drag strips are
the first smell of
shit.
boiled peanuts, was at a drag racing strip in Eatonville, Mississippi. Like, I remember all that. I mean, I was like 9, but I remember like it was this morning.
Yeah.
Which probably means I'm not remembering it right. But yeah, I mean, like being in the NHRA, that was like really, really freaking exciting. Like, you're surrounded by so much horsepower and so much adrenaline all the time. Everyone's super stoked to be there. It's race day. Everyone's excited.
Yeah.
So like the customers are super stoked. Like the employees are employees. But like all the people you interact with all day are just jammed, and like my job is to keep that shit high. Like, elevate. When you come through the Harley Davidson Motor Company tent, you're gonna learn something, you're gonna giggle, and it's gonna be a great time. Yeah, come back and see me. And like, I'm talking for 10 hours a day.
Jesus.
At the end of it, I'm like deflated balloon. But I made it work, and I ended up living on a motorcycle for 9 years and a couple of months.
Wow.
And didn't have an address, had a few different storage units, basically just to go swap out parts or black t-shirts or whatever. And then you just keep going, gig to gig to gig to gig. Every time I had a gig, I had a hotel room, so I get a shower. I'd have some per diem, so I get to eat on somebody else's bill. And not having rent or mortgage or bills to pay at all because the motorcycles are paid for, like just having basically insurance and incidentals being what you need. With a really well-paying MC gig, you don't need anything. I mean, yeah, sure, you sleep under your motorcycle and rest stops every once in a while and stuff like that, but I mean, it was amazing.
Would you consider that the best years of your life?
Or
at least up until that point?
I think I'm in the best years of my life.
Okay.
I think all that shit was, I know all that shit was necessary.
Do you also, because I kind of say like, I think every year keeps getting better for me. I don't think
great.
I don't, yeah, I had a real gig I got a face for this gig until I started YouTube.
Fair enough. Yeah. You just got to record from a dark room. No one will know the difference.
Yeah.
Love is a light switch away, baby.
Yeah, dude. But no, I say my best years are ahead of me, and it just keeps getting better. I think that's just an outlook I'll have on life till the day I die. But at this point in your life, did you consider that the best years of your life? Like, were you like, this is fucking incredible? Like, did you realize
most of the time?
Most of the time, you were just on cloud nine about it.
Living the dream. I got to live on the highway. Like, I was a highwayman.
Yeah.
Like, that is where I live. It's where I said I jammed. Like, I had to ride to every race the same miles that the 18-wheelers are driving. And the NHRA circuit zigzags twice. Oh, we've got a gig, and see you on Thursday.
God, dude.
And so, I mean, like, that was
and no matter what the weather was doing,
doesn't matter. You don't show up to work. You don't got a job. You like this life. You best get there, bud.
Right.
But, weather be damned. So there wasn't a lot of hanging out. I didn't have a community at this point at all either. I was a dude that worked for Harley Davidson that loved motorcycles, but I loved them mostly on my own. All the motorcycle people that I knew were work.
Okay. Wait.
Great
so
people.
let me ask you this too.
Yeah.
You did a little like a fucking imitation of the announcing there. You were working for Harley at the Harley booth, going to the NHRA event.
Yes.
Okay. At first, I thought you were actually hired by the NHRA.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
No, I was on the NHRA circuit with Harley Davidson.
Okay. Got it. I don't know if people listening caught that, but I didn't catch that.
Well, now you know.
Yeah.
Happy to clarify.
Wouldn't be the first time listeners are looking and they're like, "Are you a fucking idiot? Have you been listening to what he's saying?"
It's like, no.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
I'm here to ask the questions.
Yeah, I'm here to ask a question and then not pay attention to the answer.
Zone the absolute fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's why we're here today.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, rain or shine, dude, you're there.
Well, and it ended up being like a 12-month gig.
Did you ever bum a ride in an 18-wheeler? Like, bro, the weather's bad. Like, help me out here. My bike's down. I'm down.
There
like,
was one stretch where I traveled with a buddy for a while, and
a buddy being a truck driver on the series.
Truck driver, he drove for
on
Army.
The circuit.
It wasn't like one of the Harley drivers. They absolutely never would have allowed that.
Right. The Army drag racing team.
Yeah. Yep. So their vendor area was right next to our footprint, and I got really tight with everybody that was over there, and it was just really, really cool people. They made me feel like family was tight. Being an MC, you're on an island all the time. You don't have a team. There's one.
Okay. Yeah.
And you're unmanaged.
Right. Again, back to being feral.
Absolutely. Here's your schedule. Don't fuck up. I'll see you in 8 hours. That's kind of how the gig goes. They like check in every once in a while, but you're not there setting up. You're not there tearing down your talent. So you just like show up. Where's my microphone? Hey, everybody, blah, blah, blah. Thank you so very much. And you leave. And either wait for everyone that you've worked with to get off of work, which you probably aren't going to do, but without falling asleep.
Right.
Or being too drunk by the time they get off of work. It's just...
Every day is basically mic drop. I'm fucking out of here. Like you said, deflated balloon.
Yeah.
I'm done, dude.
Yeah, and I am spent.
You got my energy.
My cup is empty.
Yeah.
And so like the NHRA ended up being fucking excellent. And it turned into also IMS tours, the International Motorcycle Shows. And then they had
cool. So you did some of those shows.
Yeah, I did all of them. So
that's
it would
awesome.
be 24 dates from February to November with a motor company. And then there'd be some Jack Daniels concerts and stuff in there at that time. I was very much working for Jack Daniels and Harley at the same time. And so it was like, which event am I going to? I'm going to this festival or I'm going to that festival. One's got motorcycles, the other one's got probably motorcycles in the parking lot.
Right. And some of them just had both.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, my life was roller derby, whiskey, and Harley Davidson.
That's the dream, bro.
Yeah, I'm still not mad at it. And so I was like 12 months out of the year chilling for Harley, and it was really intense. It was really rad. I put down a ridiculous amount of miles. Like the longest stretch out of those years was 5 months and 2 days, and I went 31,334 miles.
Wow.
In all 48 contiguous states.
Wow.
Like, that's just going to work. That's not adventuring. That's not stopping to see stuff. I didn't have time for that. I got 1,000-mile days just so I can shit and get to work.
Wow.
And when you're on the road by yourself, if anything bad happens, you want it to happen closer to your next destination.
Right,
So the first 2 days on the road for sure are balls deep. And you're just, let me get there. If weather happens, if I get slowed down, I want to be as close as I can. That way I can kind of inch there if I need to.
Right.
And so there was like... It was enjoyable, but it was more therapeutic than anything. That's really, later on, I find out through therapy, that is where my therapy started.
Okay.
Because when you do those long, I mean, like, as you know, like when you do those long days, it gets very quiet.
Yeah.
It's very still, and then the only thing you're left with is what you hear in here. So if you're not on your Lexan, you have your brain, you have your thoughts. And that can be really scary, and it can be very freeing. It can be a lot of things. For me, it was necessary. All these like times where I caught myself going to that dark place, like over the years, it was really important for me to make some positive changes. And so I treated the road as a tool, not just how I'm getting somewhere or something cool to be a part of. I would leave every NHRA race. I think this was probably my second season I decided to do this. And I was just like, okay, as I left, I'm going, Thursday I got to town. Who was the first person I talked to? Was I honest? Was I humble? Did I listen? Did I talk too much? Like, was really paying attention to how I affected everyone around me, especially because in the NHRA too, like, I'm kind of a square peg in a round hole a bit.
It's a more polished environment.
Very much
I started off in the
cars. And I'm all spit, no polish. So I was like, luckily I was entertaining, so I fit in just fine as a court jester.
Right. They were probably the wildest guy they'd ever seen.
Oh,
some of those people.
NHRA, they got some wild ones in there, baby. Yeah, y'all can keep y'all's trophies. I don't need them.
Yeah.
Y'all crazy, and I love you, and I miss you. Can't pal it. Woo woo. But yeah, I mean, those years were nuts. It was a lot of miles, it was a lot of work. I mean, it wasn't easy. Like living on the road full time, even with like when the internet looks great all the time. Like, yeah, like nothing's free.
Yeah.
So when you're out there having a good time, there's you know some real scary ones out there, some near misses, some out of nowhere monsoons, and heartbreak, and all sorts of stuff. I have a massive heart for love, and I found it a few times on the road, and it was like one of those things where I'm like, is this where I stop next? Did I find it?
Did you ever think in falling in love on the road that you were gonna just pack it in and go, fuck it, I live here now, I just met the love of my life?
Absolutely. I was 100% open to it.
Yeah.
Like my worldview on the aspect of love and the search for it is like, don't search for it. Just open your heart to it. Say yes. Like, if you feel the thing, go follow it. He goes, but, those red flags aren't decorations. So I would pay attention to those. Finally learned that, my God. But it's like, for real, I was like, that was my life. To me, it was just Monday through Monday, living on the road. Everyone else, it was like this thing. But for me, that was just, it's how Danger Dan probably lives in his brain. All these people think this shit's wild. He goes, I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah.
And that's like where I was. Like,
that's what I'm just living my life, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just doing what I think I can do.
I'm just doing dumpy, man.
Yeah.
I'm just doing dumpy. And, but yeah, I mean, there were a couple of times where my heartstrings got tugged at. And like, yeah, I mean, it was very real. And so was the heartbreak, But, you hit the road. The road's always there for you. You work it out. Figure out what went down. And
dude, I've always said the hardest heartbreak, just the lowest I've ever felt in my life at time. I don't know about the lowest, but there's something about taking off from a strange place and leaving a part of your heart there on a motorcycle. There's something about that in your helmet.
Well, it's a country song, man.
It really fucking is, dude. There's just like, those are some of the hardest memories of my life, is having to leave a girl that I'm in love with, and it's just you and your helmet, and you got thousands of miles ahead of you, and it's just, you go from the highest,
and there's no
the
escaping
highest
it.
feeling.
Like, you have to live in it now, because,
dude, you're there.
Because unless you have a concert in your helmet via Lexan.
Oh, Lexan don't even help those moments, dude. Sorry, Lexan.
Did she die? No, there was that little yellow light on it.
But it just switched over. Oh no, don't worry.
It's stuff.
But
none of your business, Dumptruck.
That's the fucking. You go from the highest of high, like whatever was going on that week or day or weekend, that night.
Those miles are long.
To the fucking lowest.
You can't ride fast enough.
Oh, dude.
Like, you just don't know how.
The helmet can't get loud enough. You're just
screaming.
Yeah, dude.
Crying, maybe, depending on how deep the rip is.
Many tears in the helmet. Like, yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. And I've dated a very few number of women my entire life. Very happy to be in the relationship I'm in right now.
Yep.
Yeah, my woman is absolutely amazing. But, like, I've never been a serial dater. I've never ran long enough. You can't catch me. I live on a fucking motorcycle.
Right.
I gotta be at work 3,000 miles away in 2 days. You want a date?
Right.
Come on.
Oh, dude, I'm not even talking that.
Honestly, I was hoping to find another traveler. That's what I wanted. I wanted to find a female road person, whether it was in a van or on a motorcycle. Or, like, I was like...
That's not all what it's cracked up to be either,
well,
dude.
I mean, neither am I.
I've done all those things. It's not that awesome. It's like Jesse James said about his, what's that, the girl that was on the cover of the Blink 182?
I have no idea.
His first wife, maybe Jenna something. She was a porn star.
Yeah.
Anyways, after they got divorced in an interview, he was always asked about it. And he said, when they're like, what's it like dating a porn star? He goes, you're better off just buying the DVD, It's kind of like that. It's,
It could be.
It could be. That's all I'm saying. It could be. I'm not saying that's how everyone...
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
take our words for it.
Yeah, maybe you're just better off, like, listening to the podcast or something, That'd be my version of it, Whatever. I've got a million versions of that, honestly. I've lived a lifetime of it.
Yeah, I've got more lifetimes
and
to go.
Sometimes it's only in a one-night stand form.
Yeah.
And you fall the fucking love.
Oh,
you're like,
man.
I gotta leave in the morning, dude.
I've definitely gotten that look from someone I connected
God.
with while we're hanging out the next day with other people, and
Hey, what's up, guys? If you notice a few minutes back in this video, Dumptruck had said something about the camera acting weird or whatever, and I thought it was no big deal. I thought we had some time. I just want to let you know the battery died on the video end of things. Basically, just on this part one of this YouTube episode, we lost the last 2 minutes of it. And honestly, most of it is just him saying where to reach himself and stuff like that. A couple little funny seconds in there. But if you really wanted to listen to the last 2 minutes of it, you can go find the podcast anywhere podcasts are available. If not, oh well, you lost 2 minutes, and I hope you enjoy the part two of this episode. Either way, man, enjoy. Thank you guys for listening.